thinking about this all week, and I wanted to kind of know, from a life starting from negativity and being surrounded by it, I made a big change with a pretty negative situation that happened. And this is where I discovered you, and it's turned my life around. Yet I'm still feel like I'm blocking a lot of things. I feel like I am very good at manifesting negative things, and they happen very quickly when I think of them. And it seems like the days that I am working the hardest, or even starting out on the highest flying disc that I know of, it still ends up pretty bad, or I still manifest things that are very negative. And I want to get clarity on this, and I want to know what I'm doing to pinch myself off.
Well, it's logical that if there is something that has some momentum going, that the momentum might play out. We've been saying for a while, to try to get you to relax and have a little fun with it, that it's like sometimes you have fallen out of an airplane with no parachute, and you want to know, what should I do now? And we say, don't worry, it'll be over soon. Because sometimes it just has to play itself out, but you can hit the ground running, you really can. So we talked earlier today about getting out ahead of it, and that really is where your power is. The difficulty is that if there's something negative that you have your attention on, then you're producing more momentum for more negativity. And a good analogy, we know that you know this, and perhaps it is not necessary for us to compound the problem with an example about the problem, but this can be helpful. Imagine that you are moving forward, and from your mouth is spewing a sort of mist that is causing a fog, a red, inky mist that is making it difficult for you to see and experience things. But you just keep spewing the mist, and so you keep having that experience. And if you just stop spewing it, in a little while the mist will dissipate, not instantaneously. But it's hard to stop spewing the mist, because while you're in the middle of the unwanted mist, you're usually talking about the mist you're in, which just causes you to spew more of it, which you're then talking about, and so it never quite gets cleared up. And then you meet those people who remember the mist, who, even though you've kind of cleared it up and aren't thinking about it, they're remembering it because it hasn't quite dissipated all the way. And so it really is more about that. But bit by bit, you can get into a different place. And here's the easiest way to do that. When you sleep at night, that mist stops. You aren't spewing it while you're sleeping, because your consciousness leaves your physical apparatus, just like when you make your final transition, when you have what you call your death experience. When you sleep, your consciousness is not having a point of attraction. So that's a really good time for that mist to clear up. And when you wake up in the morning, if you don't start spewing it again already, then this day is going to have less of that attraction power than the day before. And the next day, less still. And the next day, less still. Until it really does not take long. But it takes some understanding of what's causing the mist, and some willingness, or maybe even discipline, to focus on things that feel better. It's not easy to have something that's happening, or someone that's after you, or something. It's not easy not to react. It's a normal response to react. If something's coming at you, you sort of want to defend yourself. But you have to get out of that defensive place, which means you have to be focused upon other things. And you can't focus upon negative things and positive things at the same time, or bad feeling things or good feeling things at the same time. Just stop being hard on yourself about the contrasts that you experience. Look for the benefit in it. Here's something really good to say. Even if you're experiencing something really not wanted, say to yourself, since things are always working out for me, there must be value in this. And then look for it. Look for the value. We know that sounds good. Is it practical enough for you to apply it?
Yes, absolutely. And I've wanted to adopt that very thinking. And when good things do happen, I like to acknowledge them. I say, hey, well, at least I'm doing something right. I must be thinking in the right way. I'm attracting this the right way. And it almost seems immediately that that's when it changes. It goes right back to the opposite way.
Well, a desire has two ends on the stick. There's what's wanted on one end of it and the absence of what's wanted on the other. So maybe sometimes when things are going well, it does make you think about the other end of the stick. But that will happen less and less. It just happens less and less. You can't miss this, knowing what you now know and where you now stand in relationship to what you know. There's no way that the unwanted will not continue to dissipate. It will. It must continue to dissipate. Anything else would be illogical. We want you to just relax in this and not get too upset with yourself. Esther does that sometimes too. She'll say, I should know better. And we say, what about sometimes traveling through an unpleasant neighborhood or environment on your way to a beautiful park? Sometimes those unwanted things are just causing you to ask with stronger clarity about what you do want. It's all part of it. And you didn't come into this physical experience intended by yourself or anyone else to figure out how to be perfect and get it just right all the time. That's why we say you never get it wrong and it's never finished. And the reason that you can't get it wrong is because it's never finished. So you just, from where you are, you keep getting out ahead of it again and getting out ahead of it again and getting out ahead of it again. We want to say this. We think it will help you. So have you been listening to us for a while? Even though it's your first time here, have you been listening to us for a while? So you've been hearing us talking about the vortex, which is that vibrational version that precedes the manifestation of things. So here's this vibrational version. We even gave it a name because we wanted you to feel the realness of its existence. So as it is in the state of becoming, because law of attraction is responding to it too, it's gaining a momentum. And if you are in the vicinity of the momentum that it has gathered, then you receive answers and ideas about it. And that's really what we mean by the receiving mode of what your inner being knows and who you've really become, what your life has caused you to become. So as you feel better more of the time, as you care more about how you feel, as you put higher emphasis on the joy part of the triad of intentions, so that you are feeling better more of the time and ideas begin to flow to you. When those ideas come and you know that they came from that source energy place because they came with such a burst of enthusiasm and you felt so good about them initially at least, as those ideas play out, it's like that 4 days of magic that our friend was talking about. Things just unfold beautifully. But if you're feeling vulnerable, or if you're feeling picked on, or if you're feeling misunderstood, or if you're feeling taken advantage of, or if you're feeling angry or defensive, or any of those natural human emotions that you all feel from time to time, that's a receptive mode too. And what comes from that are unpleasant conversations and unpleasant experiences and unpleasant things. And we don't want to hurt your feelings as a human race, but most of what you all are doing is from there. Most of the things that you're talking about, your politics, most of what is going on with religion, so much that you're talking about has been generated by you as individuals in a mass consciousness about unwanted stuff. And if you spend all your time milling around with each other and considering life about those things, it's hard for you to get into the receptive mode. You almost have to withdraw a bit from what's going on. That's why meditation is such an effective tool about raising your vibration, or rampages of appreciation, or doing things that truly are good feeling and pleasurable to you. You just have to find some way of disassociating with the momentum of this. And we acknowledge, we give all of you credit. That is not an easy thing to do with all of the media and all of the information that's coming at you and all of the opinions that surround you. But that's what we mean by getting out ahead of it rather than being a reactor. Because it's not easy to live in this world observing much of it at all without reacting to things. You see things on television every day that you react to. And when you're reacting, you're spewing a vibration. And that vibration, if you do it often enough, is going to become a momentum that's going to feel hard for you to do something else about. So we don't want you to go off and live in a cave. We don't want you to go off and hide from the negative people at work or from the television. We don't want you to disengage from life. We want you to get a deliberate grip on yourself and acknowledge that stuff happens and that's just what's going on. But who you really are is someone who mostly leans toward compliments rather than criticisms. In other words, just remind yourself who you really are. Because with each and every negative experience that you have, there is a counter asking for something that you do want. You can't have a negative experience without throwing a desire for something improved in your vibrational reality. And this is what the evolution of all species is about. All expansion of all things is about that. So what we really want to say to all of you in an emphatic way is that if you want to get into this receptive mode where those magical rendezvous happen, and if you really do want to live happily ever after, it is going to require some disengagement from the stuff that you are reacting to. So we've been talking about step 1 is contrast of life causes you to ask, and step 2 is source gathers everything that you've asked for and gives it to you. When you ask, it is answered. Step 3 is even though it's answered and it's in a vibrational form that you can't receive unless you're in the vibrational vicinity of it. So you've got to be in that place where you can receive the good ideas. And step 4 is mastery of that. Step 4 is just getting so good at that. Step 4 is caring more about how you feel than anything else. In that triad of intentions, you care more about the joy than you do about anything else till you get really good at it. And then step 5, it's our favorite step to talk about, and it especially applies right here and now with you. Step 5 is where you're not mad at yourself when you dip back down into step 1, because step 1 is essential to the equation of eternal expansion. But feel the difference. When you have mastered this step 3 of being in the receiving mode, when you are in the state of allowing and you're really good at it, so you know how to get there, and you get there easier today than you ever have, and easier tomorrow even than today because you've practiced it, and so you're doing it deliberately and you feel good about it. Then when something happens that you have previously observed and really taken a strong negative hit on and maybe even gotten all defensive about, once you've mastered that and you are in what we are calling step 5, you can observe without getting all balled up in it. So you become not reactionary to things you can't control. You may observe them, but you've got such momentum going for yourself about your well-being and about the well-being of the planet and about the well-being of others. Well-being is so dominant within you. It's like watching a child fall down or be unhappy about something that he can't do, and you're not really worried about him because you know that's just part of learning how to walk. So you're not down there crying with him. You're encouraging him because you know it's going to be okay. And that's really what step 5 is. It's knowing that it is ultimately okay, that the dominant momentum is that you are a magnificent person. The dominant momentum is that good things are coming to you. The dominant momentum is that you do good things. The dominant momentum is that life is supposed to be good for you. The dominant momentum is that things are working out for you. That's the dominant momentum. And when you really get there, you are far less reactionary to most of the world that's down here fussing over stuff that doesn't matter. Helpful?
Yes. And I have time away from work, and those are the times that I really do well, and I bring myself back up to a higher place. And I have identified that even the drive to work here, if anybody lives in Phoenix here, they know, just driving to work or even just being at work, that's what takes me down so quickly.
But that was what we were just talking about. If you're really doing this work, nothing will take you down. Because if that were the case, if you all are to live very conditional lives where everything has to be beautiful and wonderful that you are observing in order for you to feel good,
I understand.
You just can't isolate yourself from enough that you are tempted to react to, because you were born into contrast for the purpose of making choices. Contrast doesn't threaten you. It's what has given birth to your vortex. It's what feeds your vortex. It's what the expansion of the universe is all about. Don't take this stuff so personally. Nobody is mad at you. They're only mad at themselves.